Here at Calvary Chapel with Justin Paulson. If you guys don't know who he is, you guys probably don't know nothing about California wrestling. He was a 2-time state finalist, 3-time state placer for Calvary Chapel. Justin, can you let us know what's going on with you right now?
I'm sticking around the area. I work in Irvine and A6 right now, so I'm real close to Calvary home. I'm trying to get back to the wrestling club that really made me the wrestler I was in high school and college. I'm not competing anymore, but it's good to give back. So everything's good here.
So can you tell me your role at A6? What do you do at A6?
I'm a forecast analyst, so I work with the Department of Planning, or the Strategic Planning, and we basically forecast out the consumer needs for the next few years, down to the shoe style and colors.
What do you think about this Calvary Chapel team this year? You think they have a potential to be state champions or like be in the top 10 state?
I definitely think they do. I always think for some reason that some rankings don't really take into account all that Calvary offers, the growth that happens during a wrestling season. So, I mean, when I was in high school, we were a top 10 team. We were rarely ranked top 10. And I mean, they'll grow. Jake's good at growing people, getting them in shape, getting them ready, and picking them at the right time, in the right place to do big things.
How does it feel to be back at your school, seeing that the wrestling team is still one of the top teams in the state of California?
I mean, I take a little pride in it. I'm like, because I remember the good old days when I used to put in work in this same room day in, day out, cutting all that weight, and then having fun on the weekends, making people pay for the work that I put in. So it's fun to see the growth that happens because I remember how it happened when I was a kid. So if I can do something to help these kids get better and use wrestling as a tool to shape their character and their future academic career, then there's nothing else I could ask for.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience wrestling for Stanford University and also wrestling for Coach McCoy and Borelli?
Yeah, I mean, McCoy, obviously, he's a great technician. He knows the ins and outs of pretty much every position in wrestling. There's very little he doesn't know about the sport, and he's a true student of the sport. Watching tape, picking apart flaws and styles, and being able to adapt a wrestler to specific situations that arise. Borelli, on the other hand, he's more of a driver. I can't argue he gets results. He pushes people to better themselves, but not because they think the coach wants them to. They better themselves because they know the coach thinks so and they want to better themselves. Obviously 2 different coaching styles, but they both get results. I can't argue with the stuff they've been producing as of late.
Justin, can you let us know about your experience qualifying to nationals twice?
Yeah, it was a bit of a bumpy road. I mean, I went through a couple of big injuries in college. I never really went through a season without an injury, so it was a little rough, but I mean, the experiences were great. There's obviously every year 32 people qualify or 33 people qualify at a given weight in the entire country. So obviously it's an experience just to get there. Obviously I didn't do as well as I wanted to, but it's an experience nonetheless, and it's something that I can pass on to these kids and say, look, keep at what you're doing. It's hard now, but in the end it's going to pay dividends because not only does wrestling help build you as a wrestler, but it builds your character for life. And that's the real end goal, because wrestling's going to fade, all that stuff's going to fade away, and what's going to be left is you out in the world. And I can say that wrestling has shaped me beyond anything that I've done in my life. I wouldn't give anything for it.
Justin, one last question. What piece of advice would you give to those kids that are getting recruited right now and they're trying to choose a program to wrestle in the future?
The university to wrestle at? I mean, you got to look at the big picture, because that's one of the things that pulled me towards Stanford was not just, how's my wrestling career going to be when I'm in college? So obviously that's a factor, but it's not everything. You got to think, well, after I'm out of college, what am I going to do? You can coach. I love coaching. I help out when I can. But really the long term, you got to think about it. You got to make the right decision for you. Really, it's a individual basis. And Stanford was the right choice for me. It may not be the right choice for everybody. But obviously I'm a little biased, so I'm going to say go Stanford. But it really is, wrestling is going to fade. It's a tool to use to shape your character.
Justin, thank you for this interview. Really appreciate it, and I hope you have a good afternoon.